I don't talk about training very much on our long form content, but today I'm going to talk about arguably the most valuable piece of equipment you can add to your gym bag for long-term growth and hypertrophy. Now, you guys know me, I'm not big on spending a lot of money. I don't think that supplements are actually should be a huge part of your budget. I don't think you spend a lot of money outside of your diet and your rest, but there are a few tools that I find to be like really important in my employment of them, and GymPin has quickly become one of them. So let's break it down. What is hypertrophy based on? Now, hypertrophy needs a few different things to be efficient and to work. The first one is mechanical tension. That needs to grow over time. Your body will accommodate to loads, and you need to be progressing. Progressive overload is the name of the game for hypertrophy. But there are other things as well. Proximity to failure. Proximity to failure is really important because we have found that training to failure is the most important thing, not really rep ranges, as long as proximity to failure is equal. Whether it's a set of 3 or a set of 20, that closeness to failure is what's most important. But that's something that you can control on your own with your intensity in the gym, so long as the weight is there. Enter GymPin. The third thing that's really important here is managing volume. But again, that's something that you can control. You write it down, you monitor your recovery, and you check how quickly you're recovering each day, then managing the volume, lowering or increasing to meet that. Although there is some data out there to suggest where your volume should be at to be optimal for hypertrophy. Different things based on your weight, your strength, whether or not you're enhanced are going to change that around some. So what is the biggest thing that you can do to enhance your intensity, the mechanical tension, your proximity to failure, and your ability to manage that volume? Well, something like the GymPin. Adding in weight to your sets when you've progressed beyond the bounds and the boundaries of what the equipment in your gym can offer. So I train at a relatively hardcore gym in New Jersey. We do have some Gen Pop in there, but I would say it's definitely the most hardcore gym in my state. And even with the incredible equipment that we have, there are some movements that I just top out. Things like lying hamstring curls, lat pull downs, overhead tricep extensions. I have some videos to show kind of how I've employed this in the week that I've been reviewing it. Exercises that I was kind of nearing the end of the progression where I was going to have to change it up for the next cycle so that I could continue to progress. Unless I change the rep scheme, I can now add a lot more weight to it. So I've had the opportunity to check out the limitations of the GymPin, the applications of the GymPin. I've even done some drop tests to see how it works out. And I'm here to talk to you about what I think about it. So off the bat, I'm gonna be really honest. Like I said at the beginning, I think this is probably one of the most important pieces of equipment that you can add to your gym bag as a bodybuilder, as a powerlifter, as someone who looks to progress in the gym. If you want to stay the same weight for the rest of your life, if you want to stay the same size, this probably isn't for you. But if you do want to increase your loads, your hypertrophy, your ability to progress in the gym, you got to pick one up. So off the bat, first thing, limitations of the pin. So this is a 10 millimeter. I'm going to be giving this one away on our Instagram. There's also an 8 millimeter. Why am I giving away the 10 millimeter, not the 8 millimeter? Well, they gave me two, one to give away and one to keep for myself. And the 8 millimeter is most applicable for the gym that I go to. Now, I go to a warehouse gym in New Jersey. If you are in the UK where they manufacture these and you're more of a global gym, so this 10 millimeter might be more applicable to you. Each selectorized machine is a little bit different on what size the holes are. Probably got to take a ruler to your machines if you want to check it out before you order one. I'm going to be going with the 8 millimeter because while some of the machines that I use are 10 millimeters, you can fit the 8 millimeter in both the smaller and the bigger holes. There is a little bit of instability in the bigger holes, and that's one of the limitations I'm going to note here. Unless you're going to buy both, which you absolutely can, they have some affordable options to get them as a group, you're going to be stuck with one or the other. The big one isn't going to fit in all of them, and the smaller one is going to have some play in it if it's in a bigger hole. Now, the pin itself is quite long. This is going to be longer than most widths of stacks of plates, so it gets a decent amount of leverage in there. It's only going to move around if you play with it, especially once you load a 10 plate on there. The 5s, the 2.5s, they're not going to do all that much. But once you get a 10, 25, 45 on there, it really doesn't go anywhere. Even when you watch the drop test, yes, it slams, it moves around, and there actually is a barbell in the way that prevented it from really going too far, but it didn't really go anywhere because it's in that plate pretty far. And that's really the only limitation I could think of with this product. I've had products like this fabricated in the past. We've used Allen keys. We've done a lot of different things machines, we've gotten pretty creative to load extra weight on this because, well, we want to get bigger. But this has been the only one where I've been able to drop it without worrying. I've been able to load a lot of weight onto it without it sliding off. We've had a lot of problems with these in the gym that I go to, quite frankly, and no one's really been able to make one that is as efficient and helpful and sturdy as the gym pin does. I'm just being really honest here. I haven't been paid for this review. There's no sponsorship here other than I got this one for free, and we're going to have a coupon code that if you do purchase one, we do get a kickback. But outside of that, I gave this an honest review, and quite frankly, I have other options at the gym. The gym does own other versions of this that I could use, but I opt to use this one instead. Ask anyone at the gym. I've been walking around showing everyone because I'm so excited about it. So that's the limitations. You have one or the other to pick from. Unless you get both, you're going to be pigeonholed into one, and that may keep you from using some machines, or it may be a little bit more unstable or a little bit less stable in some machines. But it kind of comes out net even because the instability is pretty much negligible. And if you just buy the 8mm, it's going to fit in pretty much anything. I haven't come to a machine yet where the smaller version did not fit and work. So that's the cons out of the way. The pros here are, obviously, you can add more weight to any machine. If you have an exercise where you have progressed to the boundaries of the machine. There's a decent amount of machines that I love at my gym, but I'm able to rep the entire stack. And I've increased my rep ranges, so I was able to do a whole stack for 8s originally, but then because I maxed it out, well, then I had to move the rep range to 10 to 12, 12 to 16. We've maxed them out. There's nothing else you can do with it. Well, now you can add a couple 45s onto it, and you've got a few more years, if that, because honestly, you can add so much weight with this thing that you probably will never max out a machine again in your life. And that's the pros to this. We know that mechanical tension is the driver of hypertrophy. So why not create an environment where you can add more mechanical tension for your body? And honestly, that's the review. It works really well. I haven't had any problems with it. Oh, and the last thing, the drop test. So for this, I've been doing this really interesting incline overhead tricep extension for some time. It's really helped out my bench press a decent amount. I've got a lot of inner tricep growth. I know that I don't look all that big on video, and I kind of maxed this out. The cable crossover that we have, it goes up to 250 pounds. I think it's a double or a triple pulley, and I was able to max it out, and I was doing this for sets of like 20. So with this, I again, put it at 250, but added this further up and was able to add some weight onto it. I've been able to progress again. It's been an absolute beauty. But the problem being, I'm on an incline and the pulley's on the floor, so I have to drop it quite often. Now, the machinery that we have is quite sturdy. I've been doing this for a while. I've never had a problem. But I was curious when adding this in, when I drop it, is it going to fall out? Is it going to bend? Watch the video. I dropped it pretty hard. Now, there is a barbell in the way, which I realized kind of limited the drop test in terms of falling out. But once the exercise is done, I don't really care if it falls out, to be quite frank. Point being, it's still straight. It works just fine. So we're gonna be giving that one away. Even if it's a little bit scuffed, it's a little bit lightly used. You get to use one that you get to have a piece of equipment that Ben from PricePlow has used, however much that's worth to you. So yeah, it's sturdy, it works well for the intended purpose, and the only real limitation can be mitigated by you measuring properly and preparing for what you're going to be getting. Now, obviously, we do have to say there are some machines out there like the freestyle stuff with the cables that go up and down, where there is a guard around the selectorized. There are some cases where maybe this won't exceed the machine enough to get a weight on there. Your mileage may vary with some specific machines, but in my gym, I have yet to come to a machine where I can't employ this well. So that's it. We have a coupon code PricePlow at checkout. Will save you a little bit of money. If you're interested in one of these, I highly recommend that you grab one. If you aren't focusing on progressive overload, I cannot recommend enough that you switch over. If you have any questions about it, feel free to DM me on Instagram. I'd love to talk to you about it. PricePlow on Instagram. If you're watching this on YouTube, we have a very, very fun time over there with our Q&As. So yeah, thanks so much, Jimpin, for sending this over. I'm really hoping that this helps out people who are on the fence about getting one, help you find something that can help you out with your progression, or maybe just give you something different to do in the gym. Hopefully, up next, I'm super excited about this one. I want to next try out the extenders for like hammer strength machines. That's the other half of my training. Currently, I'm not using a lot of barbells as I take a break from powerlifting for a little bit. And those hammer strength like incline presses or the ISO rows, I'm maxing those out now too. And they sell a really awesome also alternative to this, where you can add extra weights onto the ends of those, I don't know what we call them, loaders. So if you're interested in that, I might be purchasing one of those, or maybe we'll talk to Jimpin about that. But this has been an absolute game changer for my training. Hopefully this is a helpful video. As always, guys, thank you so much for making this far in the video, and have a great day.
Welcome to PricePlow.